everybody. Having some connection issues this morning about. But go on this Monday, RTL Revolution Leadership. This is a show that about leadership. That's thoughtful. We're not talking about thoughtful in a way of that we are behind them. We're talking about being a leader. Putting into the decisions that we make. And it's going to be, it's just into a my perspective of things that are going to run out that may help you make decisions for voting, or even if you're how you could possibly look at doing something. Now, and we're seeing all of the different things that are making it. People talking about action, not getting vexed, and whatever. I mean, I understand is but at the same time, we got to think of people around us, the things that they have on and the other spikes we pay. That's before. And so again, we're going to finally make a curve now, because in America we know something about it. It becomes apparent that our children over the long term, we don't know what, we really do not understand long term what are some of the side effects that coronavirus will have on us. But today, what I want to talk about when we're talking about being a thinking leader, a thoughtful leader, is that so many of us are out here pushing anti-government rhetoric. We know we don't trust the government. We don't like the government. We don't want to see the government. We don't this, then it's all negative stuff dealing with the government. And as you might notice, I have a campaign t-shirt on right now. Doug for District 5. And Doug Williams wrote an article a couple of years ago called The Great Southern Boondoggle. And it's based on the idea that we are so cynical about how our government operates that it is actually it's actually an advantage for the government not to do anything, because we believe they won't do anything. You know, the worst, the way I'm paraphrasing, but the most scary words in the English language is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And most Americans feel that way. It's kind of embedded and intertwined into the American civic discourse that we don't trust government. We don't like government. But at the end of the day, the Constitution reads, we the people of the United States of America. And the government is us. So if we don't have functioning government, it's because of us. So if we don't trust our government, it's because we don't trust us. We are the enemy. Right now, we are the enemy. It's not the government. The government has provided us with a vaccine. The government has provided us with mask mandates. They provided us with guidelines. And yes, these guidelines change as we get more information. That's what should happen if you are a thinking leader. As you get more information, then how you are leading and how you are guiding changes. But we in America are so lazy that we want something here and let that stand like it is, and let's roll with it. But that's not how it operates in a crisis. You need using data, real-time data, as close as they can get it. But we are the enemy because some of us choose not to mask because it makes us uncomfortable. Some of us choose not to get the vaccine for whatever reason. Some of y'all are sitting there talking about Tuskegee and don't even understand that Tuskegee was not that they gave them something, it's that they failed to give them anything. They didn't give them any treatment for the syphilis that they were suffering from. They want to see how their body reacted. Now, if you wanted to be mad at the government, see if they would say, oh, okay, we're going to get a vaccine to this group of people and not going to give it to this group of people so we can see how it affects you. Then I would be mad. Some of y'all are running around here talking about, you know, they putting chips in you and stuff. And I said this in the last Down South and Dirty that I did. You got a cell phone. They tracking you already. They know where you at. You run around in your car. They're tracking you already. Okay, all these little scanners and cameras all over the place, they already tracking us. So stop. Okay, stop. All right. The thing is do you care enough about your fellow human being to give up a little liberty to make sure that we survive? Because that's where we at, and we are the enemy. And right now we are the leaders on this. And there's so many different things that are taking place that we're watching our leaders drag their feet on, particularly when it comes to this pandemic stuff. I mean, we've been known for months when this eviction mandate would expire, but we only started last weekend. Just before the weekend started, when there was a couple of days, we created an unnecessary crisis when we could have been working on this weeks ago. I mean, put it to a vote and let the Republicans figure out whether or not they're going to do it or not, because then they'll be, you know, but that I should even be thinking about the finger pointing game that comes into the electorate process. And that's the part right there we got to be thinking. Are we doing this for political gain? Are we doing this for people gain? Because we have an opportunity to stave off a collapse. Because if people start getting, and landlords, I want you to definitely listen to me on this one. Because if you start putting people out because of your bottom line, and I understand that, but you also put the greater society at a risk. That this is America, and we're not immune to uprisings. We know this. And if there are already estimates, there are like 30,000 homeless people here in the Atlanta area to begin with. So then you start throwing that on top of it, and desperate people do desperate things. And we also got an uptick in crime. So that means that people are going to be doing desperate things. That's going to cause that to go up. You're looking at people being being put at risk to be taken advantage of. All kinds of bad things happen when people lose the security of shelter. And that needs to be a priority. Not even the infrastructure bill right now, because too many people get sick. We're not building a damn thing but hospitals. And those are going to be tense because we're not going to have the ability to build large structures. We're looking at if this thing gets out of control, you can see very easily, and this is thinking, people, this is not conspiracy theory. This is just how stuff progresses. If you look at history, we can look at countries that surround America right now. We can look at countries like Venezuela. We can look at countries like Haiti. We can look across the ocean at Tunisia and Libya and Syria, Somalia. Anytime we've had where stuff just collapses, and we think in America that we are immune to a collapse, but this is the type of thing that would cause us down because we're the strongest military in the world, so it's not going to be a military threat. We're one of the strongest economies in the world, so it's not going to be an economic threat. But we are some of the most free-thinking people in the world, and that's what's going to cause us a problem because we can't come together collectively and decide that we want to, survive. Everybody's so individualistic that we can't have a collective idea to survive. This is why we call the greatest generation, because we had a group of people who set aside American exceptionalism to show that Americans were truly exceptional when we come together. I want to applaud some great leadership. I want to applaud some great leadership that took place here in the Atlanta area recently. Here in DeKalb County, Georgia, Judge Asha Jackson extended the eviction moratorium in DeKalb County by 60 days. CEO Michael Thurman is going to the county commission today to get to find a way to get the relief money that was released by the federal government into the hands of renters as quicker than they've been able to at this present time. And also are looking to change how they administer the program, because how they were administering it was going to be a little different than what it should have been. But I applaud that, because that shows that we have some leaders who are thinking. Everything cannot be put onto the federal government, okay? The federal government cannot be administering programs at the local level. That's why we have a stratified government. That's why we have a federal government. This is why we have a state government. This is why we have local government. And this is why, you know, we sit there and talk about things like state rights and local control, things that the Republicans like to talk about, but they really don't believe. This is why those things are in practice really important, because then you can then tailor your programs to what you actually need on the ground. But we have this thing in America where we usually that's end up being a bad thing. But today, that was a good thing, because the local government said, hey, there are some things we can do. And they set forth about doing those things. And this is why we have to pay very close attention to what we do when it comes to local government, because we don't pay attention to local races. We let those things go by. Everybody, voter turnout is highest when we're doing federal elections, because some reason we believe that our federal government is capable of doing all types of wonderful things that they're really incapable of doing just because of the scope. But they do provide funds to be able to help state and local governments. But you got to have the right people in place at your state and local level to be able to execute and distribute the resources that are given to you by the federal government. But many times you see a drop-off when it comes to state elections. Boom, drop-off. And there's a major drop-off in local elections. Particularly right now in Georgia, we're in the midst of we're in the cycle where we're doing municipal elections. People don't pay attention to who's on their city council. They don't pay attention to who's on the school board. They don't pay attention to, you know, these races that are taking place. But these are the people who affect your everyday life. They're the ones who are, you know, responsible for trash collection, policing, fire protection, even local health. You know, some cities actually have health departments. They're not, you know, and they're not particularly dealing with the county level. And a lot of y'all say, well, you know, and also understand this. The county commissions in Georgia are an extension of the state government. Okay, that's one of the things you also have to understand, because if you notice that county commission races usually take place during the midterms and general election cycles, because county commissions are extensions of the state government. But municipalities are completely different. And there's so much that takes place on the municipal level that we complain about it, and then we want to call our state rep and we want to call our congressman, but really what you need to be calling is your city council person. And the thing is, if you call your city council person, you know, they're the ones responsible for most of the roads in your town or your city. You know, you got some state roads and you got some federal highways that run through. Most of your roads are city controlled. You know, the city is responsible for that. But we don't pay attention. And government can work if you put the right people in place. Listen to the people who are running for office. Are they giving you a promissory note, or can they give you a receipt? Can they give you a receipt upon service? And this is my podcast, so I can say and do and promote and endorse whoever. And like I said, you see I'm wearing a Doug for District 5 shirt. He's running for city council in Atlanta. And we talk so much about, how Atlanta affects everything. And it really does. And this is somebody who understands that government can work as long as everybody has a voice and a seat at the table. And that they understand that if we come up with creative ways and we work together collectively, we can get what we want out of our city government. We can get what we want out of our state government. We can even get what we want out of our federal government. We can get out of our political entities what we want out of them if we act together collectively and put it together. That's always been the thing with, in numbers, you can get things done. But, people like to try to pick us off and have us operate as individuals, and that's make it easier for us to handle. If I separate you out, divide and conquer. But Doug Williams has been somebody that has been working in his community for over 20 years. And I'm not just saying this because I support the man. I'm just giving you an example, because this is about the revolution of thoughtful leadership. I'm giving you an example of what leaders look like. Leaders look like people who've been doing work, who've accomplished things, who will continue to do the work regardless if they get elected or not. So many of y'all that I know who have run for office, you didn't do much before you ran for office. Then you start doing a whole bunch while you was running. Then you lose and you disappear completely. Then some of y'all win and you don't even attempt to do half of the stuff you did. You don't even attempt to get creative. You don't pick up the phone and call people who might know how to help you. But that's a part of being a leader. And one of the things that I've noticed watching Doug Williams has been that if he doesn't know something, he knows who to call. He knows how to bring people together to get solutions. He's not trying to do it himself because it's not about himself. And this is what leadership is about. Leadership is about bringing people together, particularly in a republic. It's about bringing people together and getting all the information, getting all the voices, taking the temperature, and then sending that back to the body, politic, to get it done. So today's lesson is that government can work, but we have to work it, not let it work us. And we are our own worst enemy. So people, vaccinated or not, put your mask on today. Okay, put your mask on tomorrow. If you are eligible, excuse me, nose itching here. If you are eligible to get a vaccine, seriously consider it. I know some of you have religious objections. Some of you may be medically unable to take it. Then you need to mask up and need to be thoughtful about who you're surrounding yourselves with. You can't go around here acting like you're free, because we're not free right now. We are under the oppression of coronavirus. Okay, I don't even want to call it COVID-19 anymore, because I don't even think it's 19 anymore. It's COVID, COVID-19 Delta, whatever we want to call it. But seriously, do the right things. Pay attention to what the CDC is saying, because even though there are doctors and scientists over there who are really good at what they do, new data comes out every day. It's just like we learn new things about our history every day. Things change, and we have to be prepared to change with them. So let's stay fluid. Let's keep our head on the swivel. Let's adapt, assess, adapt, and overcome. We can win this. We can make life better. But we have to understand that government only works if we work it. Because we, the people, are the government. This is a republic. America, stop being lazy and abdicating your responsibility onto someone else. This is Scout Smith, and this is the Revolution Thoughtful Leadership. Have a great Monday. See y'all tomorrow.